Hey everyone, Coach Wolverine with you today. And I had an interesting day yesterday. Three very powerful conversations, and a lot of these conversations were all around people pleasing. Now, if you're not sure what being a people pleaser means, by definition of the dictionary, it is somebody who everyone considers as always helpful, kind, and dependable. Always willing to step up and help. Now, in the guise of that description, sounds pretty great, right? However, when we place our self-worth in the ability to be able to help people, that's where it starts to get tricky. Okay? Now, from the personal development world, from the things that I witness and the things that I see, it is more noted that there are a lot more women who are people pleasers, right? They're in relationships and they're always trying to please the partner, trying to please the parents, etc., etc. However, I believe that this belief is mainly held because there's not enough men out there that are willing to admit that they're a people pleaser. So here, let's break that stigma. I used to be horrible for people pleasing, and I still deal with those old thought habits because let's face it, habits die hard. Now, what it means to me, anyways, in the negative aspect of being a people pleaser. So what I used to do, I used to put my entire self-worth on the ability on how I could help other people. So this would be giving 110% of my attention to my significant other, to the point where I would give, I'd give, and eventually the amount that I give far surpassed the amount that I received. And it almost created this habit around it feeling awkward to receive any sort of love and affection. But then yet, on that same note, I would almost build a resentment towards not receiving love and the same love and affection that I was giving. So it was quite literally getting mad at another person for shooting myself in the foot, which is, the human mind, I find, is very, very strange in this regard. So when it came to the relationships in that regard, I would give 100% of my time. I would do everything for them. I would basically be what the negative definition of the nice guy, or what I keep hearing this term in the dating world. I think I'm going to use this properly. Please correct me if I'm wrong, but what is now considered a simp? I don't know if that's right. Awesome. If it's not right, well, okay, whatever. I don't really care. But the fact of the matter is that I used to please people in hopes to stroke my own ego and build up my own self-esteem that way. Well, it doesn't work that way because we end up depleting ourselves. Okay, I was holding this expectation that if I was dumping all of this love onto other people, that I would be receiving the same level of love back. I would hold that expectation and then make myself disappointed because I wasn't receiving that same love back. So I did this in romantic relationships. I did this in friendships. And friendships is actually a very interesting one because I still am going through the cleaning out process of people in my life where I was always the reacher. I would reach out, I would try and text, make plans, or call, make plans, and oh no, I'm sorry, they would always be busy. And then as I back off, all of a sudden weeks would turn into months, and then they would get back in touch with me and be like, well, what the hell? I haven't heard from you in a while. And it's because I made the choice to not continuously reach anymore. But yet, in the reverse side, because these relationships that I had held on to for so long were so used to me reaching and trying to please these people, I was now looked at as a bad guy. Because this is the habit that I perpetually did for so much of my life that people just got used to it. And as soon as I started creating those boundaries to say no, people weren't comfortable with that, right? It's really, I find it quite fascinating as to how we need to be careful on what we tolerate, because what we tolerate teaches people how to treat us, right? And when we become a perpetual people pleaser, we teach people that to walk all over us, right? That will always be at the beck and call. We're the yes man or the yes woman, and that will always be there no matter what. And whoo, heaven forbid we're not there when the request is made. This is a very hard pill to swallow, because as soon as I started actually paying attention to this, I started realizing what plants that I was watering ended up being fake. And there was a lot more of those fake plants than real plants. And how I learned to decipher the difference between the fake plants and the real plants is that after I was silent for a couple days, a few weeks, those people started reaching back out right away, and then they made the efforts to actually make plans and hang out. Now, this I find interesting because it's like a revolution in our own brain. We hold on to this idea of who we are with how we are viewed in other people's minds. And we place our own value with what we perceive that they think of us, thus crushing our self-esteem, because heaven forbid somebody doesn't like us. And you know, this is another reality check that I've been learning here in the last little bit, is that everybody isn't going to like us, and that's completely okay. We don't have to be everybody's cup of tea. And trying to strive to be everybody's cup of tea attaches itself to that people pleasing, because we want to please everyone. So this is part of my journey. I am currently working on this, and because I've identified as a people pleaser for so long, it is going to be a continual thing. And as I mentioned earlier, there's not a lot of men out there that are willing to raise their hand and say that, yeah, I'm a people pleaser, because our self-worth, we haven't learned how to love ourselves and build our own self-esteem without the ability to help others, without the ability to please others. So I think it's time to change that stigma. And once we learned to disassociate from that and realize that we don't need to identify as a people pleaser, okay, that's step one. We might be people who currently want to please people right now, but this is the biggest question that we can ask ourselves to be able to differentiate one way or the other. Is when we feel the need, when those old thought habits start creeping back in and we want to do things for people, spread ourselves thin and all that kind of stuff, is asking ourselves this question. Is this response based out of a place of love, or is it based out of a place of fear? If I was to help this person, is it going to benefit everyone that's involved? Am I helping this person because I genuinely want to help this person? Or am I helping this person because I fear what they're going to think of me, or I fear that they're going to pull away in the relationship, or I fear that I'm going to lose something? So this is directly correlated to a growth or a scarcity mindset. And so I encourage you today to ask yourself this question throughout the day. Is, if you are a people pleaser, and whether or not that you want to admit it out loud, okay? I get it, I understand. But to yourself, ask this question: is this from love, or is this from fear? And a little bit of a trick to be able to tell if it is from love or if it's from fear: if it's from love, you're not going to have to justify anything to yourself. You're just going to be able to do it, and when you do it, you're going to feel fulfilled. If it's from fear, you're now stroking your ego. So ask yourself that question today: is what I do based on love or based on fear? Thank you guys for watching. This video is also going to be uploaded to YouTube, so please like, share, subscribe. Highly appreciated. Take care, everyone. Bye.